Hi everybody, I wanted to introduce you today to two products that I have no words for, which is very unusual for me. I have used Gilding flakes and I've used Gilding sheets, and what I find is that you put your adhesive down and then the flakes go on top, and the flakes have been scrumpled up in a tub. So you put them in a big box and then it all sticks to the big box. And you end up sanding it back with quite a coarse scourer, and it scratches. So when we had a trip to Cadence, well, I didn't go, but Stephanie and her lovely husband Carl went. Carl came back and he said to me, "Oh, you want to see this stuff that they've got? It's called Tilson and it's phenomenal." And Carl doesn't get excited about products very often. He likes selling them, but he doesn't get very excited about the product. But this blew my mind. Now, the first thing I'm going to address is the price, because this is probably 2 or 3 times more expensive than a tub of Gilding flakes. But believe you me, it is worth every penny, and you need the smallest amount. And I'm going to show you the best way to use it and the best way to apply it. It is brilliant. It's like the Harrods of Gilding for me. If you imagine the fairy tale princess carriage, it's that level of quality. I mean, it's just extraordinary. So we're going to use the Mixi-on glue first of all. So this is made for metal leaf. And we're just going to put a very small amount, and I mean like 2 or 3 drops, onto my mat. And I'm going to use a flat brush. So I'm going to pick this up. I might need a little bit more, but I can always put more out. And I'm just going to go over this. So I'm going to take my time just to make sure that every little area is covered, and you need a thin layer. Okay, so remember again, you're not wallpapering. You're just applying a thin layer of glue just to give something for the Tilson to bond to. And you're going to make sure that you go into all these little areas, okay? And we're going to go into all the little crevices down there. Come around this side and do this. And this product just blew my mind. I was so giddy when I got to demonstrate this, because it really is phenomenal. And the problem is, you know, you see these products and you compare it to the other things that are on the market for craft, and then you look at the price of this and go, really? But actually, there's no comparison whatsoever. No comparison. It's like going out and buying a chandelier that's plastic or going out and buying a chandelier that's crystal. It's night and day. It is just stunningly beautiful. Right, so you can see how little glue I've used, and I've still got a bit left over. So I'm just going to go in and make sure that that's completely covered before I then go on to the next step. Right, so what we need to do now is make sure that this is completely dry, because it needs to go tacky. So you can either leave it for about half an hour till it goes tacky, or you can dry it off with a heat gun, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going on my lowest heat setting, and I'm just going to make sure that I go around here and dry it off. And it will become tacky. So right now it's not. Once I've dried it, it is. Okay, so you'll be able to feel it. We did look at the, I asked David if he tried the stencil glue from Pinflair, because I know a lot of you have that for your scan and cut mats, but he said you didn't get as good an effect with it as you do with the glue that's made to go with it. So I think we're all the same at Highlight. If you need a different product, we'll tell you, and if you can get more out of one product, we'll tell you. So it's not just about selling product, it's about giving you the best product that we can give you for the right job. Right, okay, so I'm happy with that tack. So you can see now it's just tacky, okay? It's not super sticky, it's just tacky. So I'm going to take this off here, and I'm going to bring in this very expensive piece of equipment, cardboard box. Now, so this makes complete sense in my head. In fact, the whole product makes sense in my head, but I would never have thought about it. This Tilson is strands, like fibres, rather than flakes. So as those fibres drop like that, they mesh into themselves and create this beautiful, seamless gilded finish. And it does make perfect sense, because if you're using flakes, even if you're picking out the bigger flakes and layering it on, there's still going to be an overlap. Whereas with the Tilson, it naturally overlaps. And because the fibres are so thin and it's so lightweight, it just meshes, and it's absolutely beautiful when you've done it. The trick to it is, don't take it out of the pot and put it in a plastic box. I know you want to see how much you're getting for your money, and that's great, but please don't do that. Because if you do that, it's just going to create static in the plastic box and you won't get the most out of your product. And when you're paying a higher price for a product that is worth every penny, you want to get every penny's worth out of it. So put it into a cardboard box and line the cardboard box with kitchen roll. So the reason that I've done this is A, cardboard doesn't create static, but plastic does. And B, when you're sprinkling this down, A, you can catch it on your kitchen roll, but if you've ever used red liner tape and all that backing is stuck to you, I know that when you put that backing on a piece of kitchen roll, it takes the static away. So therefore, it must work with this as well. So logically, that works. So we're going to open up our tub, and I've probably done 6 or 7 demos out of this, and I've done some decent sized pieces. If I just, I'm trying to think about the best way to show you this. If I hold this here and you look at it from the front, maybe, I think that might be better. So if we go to the camera that's at the front, that might work better, Andrew. I'm just going to hold this here so that you can see. There. Can you see what that looks like there? Can you see how it strands? It's literally super, super fine strand. I mean, it's not even thick. It's super, super, super fine. It's like the finest hair. It really is amazing product. So what we're going to do, and I found the easiest way to do this, and different demonstrators may show you in different ways, but this is my way, is actually just get a brush and pick the product up on the brush and then just lay it down like this. Okay, so pick it up on the brush and then just lay it on your project. Back in, a little bit more on the brush and just dab it on. And this is the way, so it takes a little bit longer doing it this way than sprinkling it, but you don't waste any. Or you waste very little. It's just what's going to be left on the kitchen roll. So take your time with it and go round and just push this Tilson into that glue, okay? And then just brush it out. So all these little bits that are on your kitchen roll, you can pick up as well and just fill in those little gaps. But you're using the smallest amount. Now I've missed a bit there with my glue. So you'll see that that glue is essential. But there I can see I've got a little white spot. So once I've done this, I'm actually going to go back in with the glue and see if you can go over the top, because I haven't tried that yet. So we'll try it together and see what we get. So the reason that I will always, if something is far more expensive than you would expect it to be for a similar product that's out there, I will always tell you why it is. And if there's no reason, if it's just more expensive, then we won't stock it. If it's because of the quality of the product and there's a good reason for it, then absolutely we'll tell you. So I'm picking this up again, just going into these little areas, and it just blows my mind, this. Absolutely blows my mind. And then we just drop it on. And the tiny, tiny strands, they're almost like little shards. It's just a phenomenal product. And it just makes perfect sense. It's one of those things that makes perfect sense, but you might not think about it yourself. And therefore, the clever people at Cadence do. So, yeah, amazing. And then you can go in and you can pick up all these little bits here as well and use those for the sides. We're not wasting any of this. Now, if this was in a plastic box, remember, we're in a studio that's air conditioned. This will be flying everywhere. There is no bits flying all over. All those bits that you end up wasting, all those bits of dust that you tap off back into your box thinking that you'll use them that actually don't give you much shine. This is just ridiculous. Honestly. There aren't many products from many companies that absolutely blow me away, because like I said, I've been in this industry a long, long time and I've seen a lot of product. I have never in the craft industry seen a quality product like this for gilding. It is absolutely phenomenal. And I genuinely, well, you know me, I would never show you anything that I wouldn't buy myself. So for me, this is just phenomenal. So I'm going to just bring this out of the box now. And then I'm going to go back in and see if we can get that little bit that's missing out. I'm still going to work on my kitchen roll because that will help control the static. There's very little. If I just bring that box back in, look how little waste there is. I mean, it's negligible and it's not flying everywhere. It's just brilliant. And then I'm just going to go around with the same brush and I'm going to go around the edges and I'm just going to neaten it up. So I'm going in and I'm just using a soft brush. We do sell these brushes as well. These are the Royal Langnickel, Crafter's Choice Royal and Langnickel. And I'm using the 3/4 inch or the 19mm one. And I'm just going in and brushing over this piece. Now you can see there's a little white bit just there where I've missed. So I'm going to go back in with the glue and see if you can actually do it like this or whether you need to do it right first time. Because then at least you know, don't you? Because there's nothing worse than buying a product and then not quite knowing what to do. I'm just going to check. There's a little bit more missing down here. So a little bit more glue. And I'm not adding any more than I would have added before. It's a little tiny bit there. And then, I mean, you can buy really inexpensive hat boxes. In fact, we sell a stack of hat boxes that are quite reasonably priced, I have to say. And these would look amazing like that. Right, so let me just dry off these bits. So I'm going to be quite specific. Now I'm going to get some bits floating up now because I'm adding air into the mix. And then I'm just going to blast that little bit dry as well. And a little bit round here. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. So this is now going to go back into my cardboard box. So yes, keep a cardboard box because I'm sure you'll get deliveries like we do at our house all the time. And use them for a purpose. There we go. That's completely covered. So you can, if you've missed bits, you can go back in and you can use the bits that are left over or another little bit and just go in and pick this up. But you can, I mean, I'm just going to pick this up on this brush. It really is like, I mean, it's just so fine. And that little teeny tiny bit there is just going to finish this off completely. It's a joy. You know, when you get a product and it's an absolute joy to use, it's like that. It really is just superb product. And then while it's in the box, just put the lid back on and you're good to go. So even in an air-conditioned studio, and I did this on TV as well, so it was definitely an air-conditioned studio there, and everyone stood back. They were like, oh, we're going to get messy now, it's going to go everywhere. And I was like, no, it won't. So cardboard box, not a plastic box. Kitchen roll in the bottom, doesn't matter which brand at all. It just takes the static out of that. And then I'm just going to go onto here and I'm just going to go in and just finish this off. Just go around, get rid of any excess bits, of which there are very little. I'm using the same brush that I've used to apply it. So a nice soft brush. So we're not adding anything coarse onto the top of it. So it's not getting scratched. And then just burnish that in like that. And then to move this out of the way for you and then you can see. Now, that looks great. Wait till I do this. Look how shiny that is. It looks like a piece of gold. In fact, if I put my gold rings next to it, you can see it's shinier. This is the platinum. They do a gold, which will be a little bit more yellow, but I love, and it started like that. You imagine all your moulds that you've got. Maybe you've got Zuri moulds and you've got your clay or your Fimo or whatever, or your resin. I mean, that is just incredibly shiny. Now, I'm going to go back to a product that we used in our rusty patina demonstration. And I'm going to go back in with the wax. Now, if you want it really shiny, then keep it as it is, obviously. But you can go over with this and distress it. So we're going to go in and we're just going to put a thin layer, because we don't want to waste all our product, a thin layer over the top and just get it into those crevices. Okay, and this will give you that vintage metal feel. as well. Okay, so you look at that. This is what I'm talking when I talk about going through that pain barrier and just keeping going. This is the stage where you have to get through that pain barrier and keep going. So all I'm going to do now is just take regular water just from the tap, nothing special. Give it a quick spritz, and because this wax is water-based, I would take a cloth probably, rather than using kitchen roll all the time. I have a muslin cloth that I use for clean-up and stuff, so it's a little bit more environmentally friendly. And just wipe off any excess, and that gives you a completely different finish. So that makes it look more grungy. So if I bring in the Mixie on as it was, that bright shiny gold, and then bring in this one that's got the wax on it, you'll see the difference. One looks really nice and bright and shiny, and the other one looks more vintage and weathered, and I love that. So if you're somebody that loves gilding flakes but doesn't like the mess and doesn't like all the dust that's left behind, and you don't like the overlap of those colours, then this product is absolutely for you, because if it blows my mind, and I've seen a lot of products over the years, I have never seen anything as good as this. It really is second to none. So go and check it out. It's the Mixie On glue, so the metal leaf glue. It's the Cadence Tilson, Gilding Tilson. This is champagne gold, and also the very vintage chic home decor wax. The links are in the description below, so go and check those out and have a play, and let's see what you've done with them. But that, #1 product so far. Take care. See you soon. Bye. If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications of all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.